The king of iPhone leaks, Ming-Chi Kuo, has given us the information we need, and wow, it actually could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. iOS 14 launches globally, and we have our first look at AirPods Studio and all the Apple news that you're looking for. So first we come to iOS 14. So in iOS 14, the biggest change you're going to see is those widgets on the home screen, a pretty cool addition. I think they work really well, and if you swipe all the way to the right, you get also this app drawer and this alphabetical list, which I think just is useful overall. So some good upgrades, and Android fans are going to be saying, yeah, they've had those for years. And yep, it is true, but now iOS has them as well. You also get picture-in-picture with the iOS 14 update, another useful feature as well. Definitely some use cases for that, so good to see it on iOS 14. But let's just get into all the juicy hardware news with the iPhone 12. So before the Apple event came, when the iPhone wasn't launched, we heard from Mark Gurman that no iPhone 12 was going to be at that event, a very trusted source when it comes to Apple news. And yeah, he was correct. It didn't come. But now we're looking to October for the actual launch of the iPhone 12. Apple definitely need to get these phones out before the holiday cycle. But according to Ming-Chi Kuo and a new report from him, some amazing nuggets of information when it comes to the lineup, and actually way different to what we'd previously heard in terms of what phones we're getting. This guy really does have to be listened to when he puts out his reports, because he's not often wrong. And yeah, he's not saying any differences in terms of the sizes. He's confirming yet again that there's going to be a new 5.4 inch model. That's the smallest iPhone we've had in years. Two 6.1 inch models, so the non-Pro and the Pro, then the 6.7 inch Max. But what we hadn't really heard before is how 5G is going to be coming in this lineup. And this is like really amazing from Apple actually to give us this many phones. I mean, not only are they giving us 4 phones in one series, which they've never done before, but according to Ming-Chi Kuo, the 5G versions of these phones are going to complicate things even further. We'd previously heard that sub-6 5G and millimeter wave 5G, which are kind of different, would only be in some of the phones. So sub-6 5G has a longer range from the base station, so it gives you better coverage overall, but it's not as fast. It is faster than 4G, but not as fast as millimeter wave 5G, which is way, way faster. That is the thing that gives you those really blazing fast 5G speeds, but the distance covered from the base station is not as far as sub-6, which means coverage is patchy. You might not get it all the time. So there's really benefits to both in terms of coverage. But here's the news in terms of the iPhone 12. So according to him, not split up between devices, maybe the Pro models getting both and the non-Pro models not getting it, but every single phone in the lineup getting either a sub-6 only version or a sub-6 plus millimeter wave version. That would mean 4 iPhone models with 2 versions each. So potentially 8 different phones this year in the iPhone 12 series. It's kind of crazy to think about, but Ming-Chi Kuo basically is never wrong. So we do have to take what he says pretty heavily. What I assume will happen is that some markets will get some phones and not all of the phones. So depending on where 5G is or depending on the market, Apple may actually sell some of them and not others. So I guess we're going to have to see how they come, but certainly a lot of choice for you whether to go maybe for the only sub-6 version or the more expensive sub-6 plus millimeter wave. I guess that's going to depend on who you are, if you want 5G or if 5G is even available in your region. So I guess Apple is going to make these decisions too, depending on which network they're with and in each country. Ming-Chi Kuo also says that the sub-6 only versions are going to be available before the sub-6 plus millimeter wave versions, which will be more expensive. This also ties in with all the supply chain information we know that Apple are having a lot of issues with the millimeter wave antennas and the bands. It's a brand new technology. They're obviously having a few more issues in terms of manufacturing this, getting it right into the phone. So it looks like they may even come after the first lot sub-6 only phones. So a really complicated iPhone launch this time around with the addition of 5G. Also, when it comes to the iPhone 12, we got information about the chipset to be used without the actual phone, which never happens. Apple usually launch the brand new chipset along with the brand new iPhone. That didn't happen this year. The A14, which will be going into the iPhone 12, has been unveiled by Apple in the iPad Air. In typical Apple fashion, they didn't give us any information about the chipset, clock speeds, how powerful it is or anything like that. but they actually compared the A14 to the A12. The reason they did that is because the latest iPad Air that's just been replaced uses the A12, and now we've got the A14. Apple is the first brand to release a 5nm chipset. Some more are coming, but yep, they are the first. This chipset remains in a 2+4 configuration, so that means there's 2 high power cores, there's 4 efficiency cores. Apple said that this one is 40% faster than the A12, and given that the A13 was 20% faster than the A12, we can just work out that the A14 is therefore roughly 16% faster than the A13. That is if all else is equal and they're comparing the same things, of course. That's for the CPU. For the GPU, the same calculation comes at about an 8% boost. So actually, in terms of raw power, it doesn't look like Apple have really gone for that this year with the A14. Yes, still some really good boosts over what the A13 gave, but it looks like they've gone maybe leaned a little bit more towards actually efficiency overall, even in the power cores. And with the addition of 5G and the extra battery that's going to take, Apple, I guess, made this decision to be a little bit more efficient rather than just for all-out power. Given that Apple's chipsets are leading in terms of power anyway, maybe a fair decision by Apple for this one. And here comes the deal breaker for some, I guess. Again, Ming-Chi Kuo telling us that 120Hz is over. It's dead. It is bye-bye. It is not coming at all. And we'd heard some maybe hints that it might be coming in some form, but Ming-Chi Kuo says this is not happening whatsoever. And you're going to have to wait till 2021, next year's iPhones with that Samsung LTPO display technology for 120Hz and variable refresh rates. And this is a massive bummer for me. This is a big disappointment, to be honest. Everything else in the phones, iterative upgrades, but that high refresh rate, I love high refresh rates. And for me, it's just a big miss in the iPhone. Apple even wanted to do it, but for some reason they just couldn't pull it off. Disappointing, and it may be a deal breaker for some people. We also get these leaked images from Fudge on Twitter showing us AirPods Studio. So this is more or less what the design will be, and maybe the actual materials will change a little bit. The final design may change. This is probably an early prototype, but yeah, AirPods Studio over-ear headphones rumored for so long. We get our first look at really what they're going to be. So some massive ear pads you can see. Then you get this kind of retro design with the steel, and yeah, it's definitely a unique look. Let me know in the comments if you would go for those, if you think they're pretty cool, or if they're just a little bit weird. I'm undecided as yet. As always, let me know about that 120Hz. Is it a deal breaker for you and all the other Apple products? What are you looking forward to the most? That is it for your Apple news today, though. Thank you for watching, guys. Thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.